Hello gamers. Now I'm gonna do another one of these videos where, I just press the record button, start rambling about stuff, because we got a lot to talk about. And I kind of like having these open discussions with you guys and just chatting in the comments and seeing what everyone thinks. It's just cool for me. Also, real quick account update. I did pull for Durin. I've been really liking him so far. I think he's fun to play. He's very just convenient. He's really only an upgrade in my Veresa team, which is, what I wanted. But, and we can peep his build too. Right now I'm using him on Freedom Sworn to give some more buffs to my Veresa, and I have him on the DPS hex set. This is his current ratio. It's not the best thing of all time, but he's chilling, and these are his talents. I have yet to crown his skill, but that is coming pretty soon. Okay, anyways, let's get to talking about Sandrone, and I think this is going to be my last video talking about Sandrone. I really just don't want to linger on this unless they do some crazy drastic changes to her or something. Probably not going to talk about her again. I also need to preface this rambling by saying that this is all just my opinion, so feel free to disagree with me in the comments and we can talk about it, or we can just, accept that people have different tastes. But let's start with her gameplay. This is what concerned me the most. So when the leagues first dropped a while back, we heard that she was gonna have a charge attack playstyle similar to Neuvillette. And me personally, I didn't like how Neuvillette felt to play, right? He's not a bad character by any means, and I actually really liked him in the Fontaine story. Like I was actually really interested in pulling him. But once I got my hands on him and I played him in the trial, and I played him in like Imaginarium. He's a convenient character to have, a very flexible character, but I just don't like playing him. He's not fun to play, and you also have to spend a lot of time on field with him usually. So the combination of spending a lot of time on a character that you don't really like playing is a pretty bad combination. So I just didn't end up going for him. And so when I heard Sandrone was similar, I was, pretty concerned about that. I was hoping, no, the leaks aren't true, no. But they were pretty accurate. However, what we've learned in the past, like 24 hours is that the main video that's been circling around her like full animations and stuff, that was actually a video of her C6 where she shoots like 2 beams and then the third beam is like a really long, more Neuvillette-esque beam. But yeah, it turns out that is only the C6. And in her C0 gameplay, which is obviously more relevant to me, because no way am I gonna get a C6 character anytime soon. Her C0 gameplay is just, she swaps in, she shoots 3 quick missiles, and then you use her skill to like refresh it, and then you shoot 3 again. And then I think, honestly, a little bit similar to Nefer, just without the dash cancels, I guess, was a little bit relieving to hear, because I think that opens her up to maybe some more quick swap-esque teams versus just her being the only carry on the team. Or it just means she's going to be more like Nefer, where she just has really short rotations. Either way, I've become a lot less concerned about the gameplay through that aspect specifically, and I honestly think it's more interesting than Neuvillette to me, in my opinion. I'm not going to show any videos or pictures, by the way, for obvious reasons right now, but you can find it. It's all over the internet at this point, all over Twitter, all over Reddit. So also, there was a part of me that was hoping that she would work really well with Columbina, for Sandbina reasons. I don't think it's going to be a situation where like she works really well with Columbina. I think it's just, maybe you could have them in the same team and it won't be completely terrible, because they're all new units, so they all have just great damage, but not necessarily like synergistic or anything, which is honestly good enough for me, as long as I was worried about Stellar Conduct being like an insanely restrictive team where you could only have Cryo and Electro party members or something, but I think it's not like that. There's a little bit more flexibility in the team options. But anyways, now let's talk about like her design specifically, because this is where I think is a really hot topic, and I have some tweets, some posts on my own videos and my own posts about her design and how people feel about it generally. I guess I should get this out of the way. I'm personally indifferent about her design now and also previously. I don't think her design ever really caught my eye, like before and after. I just don't really have like the eye for it. It's just not something that draws me to characters that much, their design, right? Like I can acknowledge when a character has a nice design, but it's never going to be the reason like I pull for them, right? Like how I really like Nicole's design, and I thought Nicole's design was really nice, and I think she's a very cool looking character. I think like projections animations are really cool and stuff, but like that alone is never going to be enough for me to pull a character, especially as a free-to-play player. I'm a little bit more, you know, conscious about my decisions. Yeah, her design never really appealed to me either way. However, I've been exposed to and adopted some opinions of others just because, you know, when you don't really have the eye for something, but someone else brings it to your attention, you know, you realize it and you're like, you know what, you're right. And so you can kind of look at it a bit more, you know, take a step back and look at it from someone else's perspective and look at it maybe a little bit more objectively. Put aside our biases, you know, because I'm a little bit biased towards her character. I just thought her character was really funny and their interactions with Columbina. But let's talk about Pulonia first. There is no Pulonia anymore, and that is very sad. And I understand it's supposed to be like this is her development, right? She's, you know, scrapped Pulonia and turned it into some new robot, and like this was supposed to be Pulonia fulfilling his wish for Alan. It just kind of feels like we got baited, you know, because there were multiple Archon Quest cutscenes where we got to see Pulonia in action, kind of got a taste of the combat. We even got to play as Pulonia for a little bit in the Archon Quest. Not like combat or anything, but you know, we actually got to control him. And then, so for that to kind of be like taken away feels a little bit rough, and is pretty disappointing, especially in the first leak when I heard Sandrone is going to be shooting lasers or something like that. I was like, oh my god, it's going to be Pulonia shooting lasers, surely, right? Because that's what we saw in the Archon Quest. But turns out not. We have a different bot. They also like gender swapped the bot, which, you know, I don't really mind that much, but you know, it's not Pulonia anymore. Basically, it's not even close. We can also talk about her design itself. When you look at the concept art for Sandrone, she originally had a very long dress and a very long skirt, and then when they put that on her in-game model that we first saw, they did nerf her skirt, but for the most part her design was like generally the same, and her skirt was still long. But then now, when in her playable version that we saw in the leaks, they just like they made her skirt look like Columbina's. Like they completely got rid of it. It looks just very strange because, I don't know, Sandrone gave off a vibe to me with her original dress that was a lot more like closed. Like she kind of, you know, shuts people out. That was sort of the vibe that her design was giving off. Now her design is a lot more exposed, a lot more open, and I think it just doesn't match her personality. They also changed the vibe in other ways. Like she was sort of giving off this like steampunk robot puppet doll sort of vibe, and in her new design she just looks like a maid. Like she literally just looks like a maid. It's such a weird switch up. I don't mind the colors as much. They did switch her colors. Like in her old design there was a lot less red and a lot more yellow, so she sort of had this like gold, black and white with like red accents. But now red, black and white, and with like gold accents, I guess. I don't mind it that much. I think the red is a bit much on her. I think it doesn't match. And I think her old design fit her better there. For some reason, they changed the color of her eyes and also changed the size of her eyes, which is just like kind of a random change to make. So maybe that's gonna have something to do with, I don't know, her being like rebuilt or something. Like, I don't know. Also, her top is a lot more exposed now. They kind of gave her the Escoffier treatment where, you know, her whole chest is just kind of out except for the front, basically, which is really strange and really unnecessary, I feel. Just ultimately, I don't see what they were trying to do with this, aside from maybe just exposing more of her skin, making her a bit more like cutesy. I don't know. I don't really know why they would take her in that direction, other than like, you know, fan service reasons. And it's not like they need to do this to sell the character. There have been extremely popular characters in the past who do not expose themselves, right? Characters like Farina, characters like Arlecchino. If you just have an interesting character, then people will get them, you know? You don't have to do this to all of your female characters, you know? It's just a weird thing. Reading some of the comments on one of my posts, someone said, I personally wish they'd kept Sandrone's original dress and made it more detailed, rather than make her resemble every other short-skirted Fontaine girl character. I still think she's pretty, but yeah, her new outfit was a bit disappointing for me, and I agree. I think they could have just, like, if they thought her design was a little bit bland or uninteresting, I think they could have just worked with what they had and improved upon that versus making very drastic changes to the whole vibe that she gives off, you know? There's also another comment that said her animations seem really over-designed. Reminds me of Wuwa animations, and I kind of wish it was more simplistic. I kind of agree to an extent, just because, you know, more animation doesn't equal better, right? Sometimes characters' animation can be super simple but really effective. That's all I really wanted to talk about. Probably gonna just put this topic to rest after this. I mean, obviously I'll be talking in the comments and stuff. As for making new videos, I'll probably leave it alone, unless, like I said earlier, if they make big changes, then maybe I can revisit the topic, but I genuinely have no idea if they will change anything at all. So, but yeah, I will see you guys around. Bye bye.